Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Tabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a very, very interesting show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my name is Charles Tabansi, handle CTABANZ. And also make sure you follow Dreamerspro, same name of the channel. And also make sure you check out the Dreamerspro podcast that we have pinned in the comment section below. Now, this show is a show actually that we had no intention of producing. I'll tell you why. The reason being is because I felt that, number one, I had pretty much said everything that I wanted to say, number one. Number two, after Stephen A. Smith went on the Breakfast Club and made his comments about Marcellus Wiley, and then Marcellus Wiley now released a show that I was very eager to see, and apparently he was on vacation when he did it. I wanted Marcellus Wiley to have the last word because, after all, it's a situation involving himself and Stephen A. Smith, and I thought that he did that. But then we started getting so many comments. People were inboxing me, "Hey man, did you hear what Marcellus Wiley had to say? Did you hear what he had to say in response? What are your thoughts? I would like to hear what you have to say." And I'm like, well, apparently people want to know what we think about this exchange, or more specifically, what Marcellus Wiley had to say to Stephen A. Smith. And I said, okay, well, I guess we can say one or two things about it just to, give the people what they want. But before we even get into that, this video is brought to you by our brand new sponsor, Factor Meals. If you're like me or anybody that works at Dreamerspro, chances are you're a very, very busy person, especially during the lunchtime when you don't have time to go to the grocery store, pick out fresh ingredients, and come back home and cook healthy, delicious meals. Sometimes we're so busy that you just end up finding yourself making a ham sandwich or something like that, which isn't really ideal. And this is the reason why we are excited to be partnering with Factor Meals. Factor Meals is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. You can choose from up to 35 gourmet meals. Every meal is packed with premium ingredients, crafted by Factor Meals' team of culinary experts and designed by dietitians to ensure that every meal is packed with premium science-backed nutritional quality. Your meals are delivered directly to your door, and all you need to do is heat them up in just under 2 minutes. Then they are ready for you to eat and enjoy. So for example, this week, I think I'm gonna go with the Italian herb chicken. What I love is that under every single meal, you can see if it's a calorie conscious option. For example, this meal I just chose is the dietitian approved calorie smart meal, which is around 550 calories or less per serving, and also a protein plus meal with 30 grams of protein or more per serving. So if you want to give it a try, click the link in the description below or head over to factormeals.com/dreamers50 and use code dreamers50 to get 50% off. And remember, when you try Factor Meals by using the link in the description below, remember that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do is I want to play a little bit of what Marcellus Wiley had to say in response to Stephen A. Smith, because as a matter of fact, he published about a 25-minute show just on that. But I want to play a few minutes of it here just to play some of the important parts in terms of his response to what Stephen A. Smith said on the Breakfast Club, and then we're going to continue with the show. So take a listen to what Marcellus Wiley had to say here.
All right. Now, that's just one clip, about 4 or 5 minutes of Max Kellerman and myself talk over an entire interview. Now, listening to that, the first thing I noticed, and I'm sure you guys did as well, is damn, Stephen A. Smith is sidestepping the truth. Damn, Stephen A. Smith ain't trying to run into this truthfully. Damn, Stephen A. Smith doing a lot of jump cutting. I mean, Barry Sanders out there in terms of talking about this issue properly. Now, the platform of the Breakfast Club is a smart platform to address this because they're not sports-based, right? I'm not even sure if they've seen the entire interview or the entire clip that I put out and all the issues about it, because I would never, ever come at Stephen A. Smith the way he's trying to now respond to it with this straw man argument. Okay, so all that jump cutting aside, I want to start off with the positive. The one thing he said in there, and it's actually true, I have never, ever had a problem with Stephen A. Smith. Now, what he doesn't know is I still don't have a problem with Stephen A. Smith, but I do have one issue. And that one issue is this: if you addressed it truthfully, it will go away, but you haven't, right? So now you got to stop talking about it completely and just take the L for lying about Max. Now, you can hide under the guise and you can hide under the disguise of, oh, my bosses told me to stop talking about it. But really, it's because you're taking the L on this Max issue. And I get it, big dog. I've taken L's before, too. Welcome to sports, big dog. All right. So in summary, I heard him deflect, use this straw man argument, play victim, Stephen A. Smith playing victim, and ultimately using the race card. Not just any race card, though. He used the big joker in the deck. Oh, Stephen A., let this go. Like I said, I don't have a problem with you, but I do have an issue. And we're going to address this like men, right? So this is why I wanted to have a show called Never Shut Up. What I saw from Stephen A. Smith was just completely unacceptable on the Max Kellerman issue. Now, let me make this clear that Stephen A. Smith went on a calculated character and credential assassination of Max Kellerman. It wasn't just a bad take. It wasn't just his first take, pun intended. He kept going. He kept doing it. And he kept lying, and the story kept changing. Now, I wonder why. Now, I addressed why in my previous video, and I'm not trying to go beat for beat, tit for tat with him. But I wonder why. And more importantly, now I wonder why your bosses, you say, don't want you to talk about it anymore when you've been talking about it for years. Why now? I think the now is because even they are witnessing the BS. And they're like, the BS has got to stop. Okay. Now, I only made that video for Max Kellerman because you kept lying and then you try to punk him out, especially when he's not even at ESPN anymore. He's not even on the network anymore. And you still had the audacity to go on Joe Budden's podcast and flex on him. Not just tell your side, but make up a side, make up a story. Because it wasn't based on the ratings. It wasn't based on his credentials, because that made no sense. The ratings were still high. You guys were still number one. And he never was an athlete. And I just found out from you that he was never a journalist, even though doing public access and being a boxing aficionado and everybody from Mike Tyson on down swearing about how great he was as an analyst and as someone who could break down sports. I guess he wasn't a journalist. But you know who else wasn't a journalist? And it's funny because in this game, I followed Colin Cowherd in his footsteps to get to Sports Nation. Colin Cowherd wasn't a pure journalist. Tell me he ain't killing the game. Michelle Beadle, not a pure journalist. Tell me she ain't killing the game. Carissa Thompson. All the people, I could just keep going. I mean, people I worked with that weren't pure journalists. So it was never about the credentials. It was just simple. Max's presence on that show got to you, Stephen A. Smith. And it's okay because you had the power. It was your show. Just say, hey, I don't want to work with you anymore because I'm just not feeling this and you got to go. I actually did that one time with one of my co-hosts. We talked to the bosses. I told the bosses first, told my agent. We had the same agent, told him. That was it. I didn't go on a tour and tell everybody anything else. I just had the power. I had the leverage and I wanted to work with someone else. That's all you had to say, dog. Years ago. But nah, you know why? Like I said before, the truth is simple. That would have been too simple. That would have been true. Lies are complex. That's why you still kept talking about it. All right. So I had to make that video just because I thought you could be a little more decent than that.
So you heard what the man had to say. First of all, I want to commend Marcellus for his approach to the situation. You can clearly see that he was not flustered. He was very, very composed, very, very respectful. He was smiling all the way through the entire monologue there. So kudos to him for being able to keep his composure. I think the other reason he did that was because obviously I believe he knows Stephen A. Smith. So I believe he's still giving him some level of respect, given the fact that he knows the guy. In our case, we don't know Stephen A. Smith, so I can tell you exactly what I think. So I didn't have those type of boundaries. But in terms of what he said, I think Marcellus Wiley said exactly what a lot of us thought when Stephen A. Smith first went on, when he recently went on the Breakfast Club to address what Marcellus Wiley had to say. He said he didn't address a single point that he brought up. He didn't address not a single point that he brought up. He was talking in a bunch of generalities, like, well, when you do this to a brother and this and this and this, like he wasn't addressing anything specifically. And then he went on to then further dismiss what Marcellus was saying to basically say that, this is, essentially he's using this for content. Like he's going to talk about me because he's going to gain him clicks. And, Charlemagne the God, you and I, or Breakfast Club, you guys and I, we're established, so we don't need to do this. And there's something that I want to dispel, because there are a constituency of people out there that exist that don't really understand how this thing really works. Now, I've never worked on television, but I do. We have been on YouTube for about 4 to 5 years, so I know how this works perfectly. I can't tell you how TV works, but I can tell you how this works to the T. The way it works on YouTube is simply this. There are people reacting to other people and other things. If you're covering sports or you're covering politics, chances are you're reacting to something that happened or something that somebody said. That's how it works. People want to hear what other people think about what other people think, about what other people said. If you go on television and you're watching a show, I don't know, ESPN First Take, aren't they always talking about other people on ESPN? Have you ever seen a show where Stephen A. Smith is on ESPN talking about himself? If he did that, nobody would watch, because nobody wants to know about you. They want to know what you think about another person, which means that your success is always tied to somebody else. It's a web and it's a symbiotic relationship. So anybody saying that, oh, he's doing that for views is just trying to be clever to people that are stupid. It's a game they're all playing. If you go on Stephen A. Smith's page, on his YouTube page, you find him talking about Dan Lebitard and talking about this person. Why do you think he's doing that? Because it drives clicks. Let me ask you guys a question. What is it that you think people do on YouTube and on TV? What do you think they're trying to do? What they're trying to do is gain ratings or gain viewerships, and on YouTube gain clicks. That is the primary reason that they're there. They're not there for any other reason. Let me just dispel it for the people in the back. Stephen A. Smith is on YouTube primarily to make money and leverage what YouTube does in terms of its exposure to make money. And the only way you make money and gain exposure on YouTube is by being able to draw people in to watch. And the only way you're going to do that is to talk about interesting things and things that people say. Let's cut out the BS. We're not stupid. Stephen A. Smith just published a show that got about 100,000 views. He was talking about Drake and Joe Budden. He was not up there talking about himself. Every video, he's talking about something that somebody else said. Every video. So everybody is benefiting off of everybody else. Let's see what ESPN First Take would be if they didn't have to talk about LeBron or Tom Brady historically or Deion Sanders. What do you like? So when people say that, it shows a flagrant level of ignorance about the business. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. So for him to say Marcellus Wiley's doing that for clicks, he does everything he does for clicks. Everybody's trying to get clicks and traffic and viewers. So to do that is a very disingenuous way of handling the quip. And thirdly, for him now to find a way to inject race, something that Marcellus Wiley smacked down in his comments, that might have been the biggest laugher of all of it. The fact that he brought in race, because at that particular moment, it looked like he had nothing else to say. So therefore, he tried to play the race card. And the crazy part is he was now looking for blacks to come and save him. hey, black people, look, man, this guy's saying I'm not black enough. Can y'all come and help me? Because he's saying this about me. He now tried to reach out to blacks to support him by playing the race card, which was absolutely laughable. And it had nothing to do with what was said. Now, I read through some comments, and of course, some people, I don't know. I try my best. We're trying to cultivate one of the most intelligent sports communities on the internet and on YouTube. And somehow we get these kind of jokers slipping through the cracks, and they come in and they leave a comment or another comment here or there. And then all of a sudden, I just get confounded at the fact, I'm like, how did these people discover our channel? This is not the dirty section. Why do we have the dirty section commenting in our comments? It's surprising to me. Like, it's quite surprising to me. But there are people out there that are saying that Marcellus Wiley injected race into the conversation. I'm like, where do people, like, what are they, is it fifth graders leaving comments? Like, it's not even third graders. Marcellus Wiley said the reason they got Max, one of the reasons was because he was white. And he was pointing it out. He wasn't injecting a damn thing. He was highlighting a fact. But it was Marcellus Wiley. He's the one that first injected. I don't know where these dudes be coming from. But anyway, I thought Marcellus handled it in a very classy way. Marcellus Wiley is a class act. You can see that. And I'm not surprised. I think that this situation is done. I don't see there being another tit for tat. I think it's over with. This is probably the last time we're going to discuss it unless something new happens. But primarily we're doing this because people wanted to know what we thought on it. So these are our thoughts. So what I want to know from you guys is simply this. Do you think this situation is finally over and we're never going to hear from it again? Or do you think that something will be said in the future and this thing will get reignited? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comments, and we catch you on the next show. Peace.